Hello and welcome to Mouse in the Mitten Trivia Pod, a podcast where you test your Disney trivia knowledge over a variety of topics. My name's Court and I will be your host. Our game will consist of 5 rounds of 6 questions covering everything from your basic Disney knowledge to some unknown facts. Each question is worth 1 point unless otherwise noted. Make sure you follow us on social media at Mouse in the Mitten on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're watching us over here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and let us know in the comments down below what your score is. And hey, if you are planning a Disney vacation, there are a lot of small details that can go into making it a fantastic vacation. And if you need a little bit of help on how to add some of those small details, how to navigate some of those waters, I would love to be able to help you out, be able to get everything all squared away and all taken care of. All you have to do is email me at mouseinthemitten@gmail.com and we can get you all squared away. Round 1 today, we are going to start with a fun category. This is all about Disney Plus. Now, we will be circling back as to why I decided to add this category into today's game, but we're going to talk about Disney Plus, some of the nuances, some of the features, and some of the things that makes Disney Plus a, in my opinion, good platform for streaming everything that you ever want to watch Disney-wise. So let's get started with question number 1. Within 2, what year did Disney Plus start its streaming services? Question number 2. Name the popular Australian kids show that Disney distributes and is among the most streamed shows in the US. Question number 3. What musician has their recorded version of the Eras Tour on Disney Plus? Question number 4. In April 2021, who did Disney sign a multi-year deal to allow Disney Plus to stream their movies? Hint, this also helped Disney to secure the rights to Spider-Man. Question number 5. Name one of the other 2 countries that joined the US on launch day. And question number 6. Out of the top 10 most streamed movies in 2023, how many were from Disney Plus? All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, try to come up with those answers, and then I will return. All right, let's give you some answers here on Disney Plus. So question number 1. Within 2, what year did Disney Plus start its streaming services? Well, it started on November 12th, 2019. So in order to get the point there, what I had to say between 2017 and 2021. Now, seems like it has been around longer than that, but they timed it perfectly with a pandemic. Now, did anyone plan on the pandemic happening? No. But the fact that it launched in November of 2019 and then less than 6 months later there was a pandemic, pretty good coincidence. And you could see why they wanted to try to do so much with Disney Plus, because at the time, that's all we were doing. We're all home streaming. So Disney Plus saw a lot of early success and they tried to capitalize on it and they lost a lot of money. So you can see the pros and the cons there. Question number 2. Name the popular Australian kids show that Disney distributes and is among the most streamed shows in the US. Well, that is Bluey. Now, personally, I am a big fan of Bluey, but Bluey is not a show made by Disney. It is just simply distributed by Disney. They show it on the Disney Channel, and it's on Disney Plus. It is one of the most streamed shows, and it is, again, Disney is just distributing it. They are not making it. I think that they want to. I think that in an ideal world they would, but right now they are just distributing it and allowing us to be able to watch it and allowing us to cry more times than we're willing to admit with a kids show. Question number 3. What musician has their recorded version of the Eras Tour on Disney Plus? Well, that is Taylor Swift. Now, this isn't the only thing Taylor Swift has done with Disney Plus. She has a couple other specials that are on there as well. And yes, I've seen them all. Thanks to my wife. She's a huge Taylor Swift fan. She's a Swiftie, so I've seen them all. She loves them. I have respect for Taylor Swift. She's a great artist, just music-wise, not my cup of tea. Question number 4. In April 2021, who did Disney sign a multi-year deal to allow Disney Plus to stream their movies? Hint, it also helped Disney to secure the rights to Spider-Man. Well, that would be Sony Pictures. Now, if you're a big Marvel fan, you kind of know the connection there and the strife and the issues that Disney has had with trying to get the Spider-Man property and everything else like that. Signing this deal allowed Disney to get Spider-Man to put him in other future Marvel movies, along with creating more of just himself. Question number 5. Name one of the other 2 countries that joined the US on launch day. Well, that would be either Canada or the Netherlands. So Canada was probably the gimme. US and Canada, whenever there's a streaming service, usually go hand in hand. Netherlands was also the first country with us to stream Disney Plus. Last but not least, question number 6. Out of the top 10 most streamed movies in 2023, how many were from Disney Plus? Well, there were a total of 6 out of the top 10 movies streamed that were from Disney Plus. You had Moana, you had Encanto, you had Frozen, Wakanda Forever, and Avatar: Way of Water, and Elemental. I forgot to mention that one, but Elemental was up there as well. So when you're like, why are they creating a Moana 2? Because Moana was head and shoulders above everyone else. Why are they creating another Frozen? Again, Frozen's in that top 10. And these are movies that are a little bit older. Encanto, that came out in 2022, so that makes sense. Elemental 2023, same thing. Wakanda 2023. And the new Avatar, again, 2023. But the fact that Moana and Frozen are on there makes sense. Now, I saw a TikTok one time. This guy's like, I don't get why these are in the top 10. It's like, you clearly don't have kids. My daughter watches those 2 nonstop. So Disney Plus, thank you for saving us in a lot of tight moments. Continuing on now into round number 2. Round number 2 is our Fast Facts round. This round is filled with simple questions that have simple answers. Today's category is 1 credit or 2. For this round, we're going to be talking about the Disney dining plan down in Disney World. For this round, I'm going to give you a character dining experience in a meal, and you're just going to tell me, is that worth 1 dining credit or worth 2? So let's get started with question number 1. Storybook dining for dinner. Question number 2. Chef Mickey's for lunch. Question number 3. Crystal Palace for breakfast. Question number 4. Cinderella's Royal Table for lunch. Question number 5. Akershus for breakfast. And question number 6. Akershus for dinner. Now, this is again where having a travel agent can help you kind of navigate some of these waters. And some of this information, sometimes when you look at it, it's kind of confusing. Having a travel agent like myself to be able to help you navigate those waters can help you really make the most out of a dining plan if you decide to get one. So let's get started here with question number 1. Storybook dining for dinner, that is worth 2 dining credits. So if you have the table service dining option, that is going to be worth 2 credits. Now, you do get 1 for lunch and 1 for dinner for each day of your reservation. So basically, this would be your 1 sit down for the day. You'd have to do quick service for the rest of the day or pack your own snacks, that sort of stuff, which is still fine, but just know that this would be 2. Question number 2. Chef Mickey's for lunch. This one is worth 1 credit. It's very good food. It's worth 1 credit. It's just basically like a normal sit down anywhere else, like Liberty Tree Tavern or anywhere else besides the ones that we're talking about on this list. Question number 3. Crystal Palace for breakfast. That is worth 1 credit, and that is worth the value. Take that and run. And I have just one simple thing as to why that is. Churro Mickey waffles. Yes, at 10 a.m. I will have Churro Mickey waffles with vanilla ice cream. I don't care what you think. It is delicious. It is a Mickey waffle churro style. And you get to meet Winnie the Pooh and his friends. Come on. What else do you want? For 1 credit? Yeah. Every time. Sign me up. Let's go. Question number 4. Cinderella's Round Table for lunch. That is 2 credits. Cinderella's Round Table does offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you have the Disney dining plan, especially with the table service, this one is worth 2. Doesn't matter which time of day you go. Question number 5. Akershus for breakfast, that is worth 1 credit. And again, it's a very good breakfast and a great chance to meet some of the princesses as well. But question number 6, Akershus for dinner, that is worth 2 credits. So oftentimes I have clients who, hey, we want to go to Akershus. I encourage them to go to breakfast. It saves them a credit that they can use while in Epcot or in the Epcot area later on, which is a really good thing to have because there's so many good options. But if dinner's our only option or lunches are our only option, we're going to use 2, but at least you get to have those meals with those princesses. That's something that a lot of really good ways to add some magic as character dining, and definitely Akershus is one of those because you get to eat with so many princesses. Same thing with Cinderella's Round Table, but again, breakfast at Akershus, 1 credit. Round Table and Akershus for lunch or dinner is worth 2. But again, this is why having a travel agent is super important. We can help you navigate those confusing waters. Continuing on now with round number 3. Round number 3 is our connecting the circles. For this round, I'll be giving you 5 questions that may or may not be Disney related, but the answers do relate somehow through Disney. And that's going to be your 6th and final question is, what is that connection? So let's get started here with question number 1. What Winter Olympic sport has seen individuals such as Dorothy Hamill, Scott Hamilton, Michelle Kwan, Christy Yamaguchi, and Tanya Harding? Question number 2. What sport is nicknames such as the Capitals, the Rangers, the Bruins, and the Penguins? Question number 3. Name the number 1 most popular sport in the world. Question number 4. Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, and Sabrina Ionescu all play in what league? Question number 5. What sports league is the most popular in the US and sees the most televised event each year in the Super Bowl? And question number 6 is, what is that connection? I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, try to come up with that connection, and then I will return. All right, let's see if we can connect those circles. So question number 1. What Winter Olympic sport has seen individuals such as Dorothy Hamill, Scott Hamilton, Michelle Kwan, Christy Yamaguchi, and Tanya Harding? Well, that is figure skating. Now, there are a lot of different names that are currently in figure skating, but this is a sport that sees a lot of people come and go and leave their marks in their own ways. Question number 2. What sport has nicknames such as the Capitals, the Rangers, the Bruins, and the Penguins? Well, that is hockey. We are, of course, talking about the Washington Capitals. We're talking about the Boston Bruins, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the New York Rangers. Those are all teams in hockey. Now, the Rangers are shared amongst some other sports, so I could see where maybe you had some hesitation, but the other 3 are strictly in the NHL. Question number 3. Name the number 1 most popular sport in the world. That is soccer. This sport is played more than any other sport around the world, and we can see how passionate fans are. If you are not sure how passionate fans are, just look into what happened Sunday in Miami with the Copa America finals between Argentina and Colombia. A lot of reports are still coming out about that at the time of this recording. I'm just hoping that everyone was okay. Question number 4. Caitlin Clark, Asia Wilson, and Sabrina Ionescu all play in what league? They all play in the WNBA. Now, Caitlin Clark is an up-and-coming rookie. Asia Wilson and Sabrina Ionescu are both very talented players as well. Asia Wilson has won the MVP a couple of times already. Both will be representing Team USA in this upcoming Olympics just a few weeks away, whereas Caitlin Clark still has to polish her game, but she'll probably be around for the next Olympics. Question number 5. What sports league is the most popular in the U.S. and sees the most televised event each year in the Super Bowl? Well, that is the NFL. If you look at the top 100 most televised events in a given year, at least half to three quarters of those will be NFL games. It's just impressive what the NFL can do and how much money they make year in and year out. So question number 6 is, what is the connection? Well, we had answers such as figure skating, hockey, soccer, WNBA, and NFL. The connection there, these are all sporting events that have had live events on Disney+. Figure skating was the first one. They did a figure skating event that they streamed live in Japan. So that's where we get figure skating. Hockey, they've done a couple of those outdoor games. They simulcasted it on ESPN, ABC, and Disney+. Soccer, they're going to do some UEFA stuff coming up in the upcoming year or so when they have that in Europe. For the WNBA, this year started out with WNBA simulcasting again on ESPN, ABC, and Disney+. And then the NFL last year, they did a game where it was in Andy's room. All the players that played on that in the game had like chips on their back, and they were motion sensors, and then they projected them on this football field in Andy's room. Toy Story style. It was very interesting, very unique, and I don't know if they're going to do it again, but it was definitely a unique way. But yeah, all these are live stream sporting events on Disney+, and definitely something that I think they're continuing to try to look into over there to try to, again, continue to increase traffic to their streaming services. Continuing on now into round number 4. Round number 4 is typically reserved for our movie anniversaries, and this week is no different. We're going to talk about The Angels in the Outfield. This was one of my favorite movies growing up, and watching it more recently, like, I don't know, today, it just reminds me how great of a movie it was, especially for a kid who at the time was about 10 years old. So definitely a great movie, definitely a lot of fun, and we'll talk about some of the other key areas as well. So let's get started here with question number 1. Yes or no, Angels in the Outfield is on Disney+. Question number 2. Within 2, what year did Angels in the Outfield debut in the US? Question number 3. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Taylor Negron, Adrian Brody, and Matthew McConaughey were among the list of up-and-coming actors in Angels in the Outfield. One of the established actors played Al, the boss angel. Al was played by what Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the Addams Family actor? Question number 4. George Knox was the manager of the California Angels in Angels in the Outfield. Knox was played by what Lethal Weapon actor known for his line, "I'm too old for this stuff"? Question number 5. Name either of the 2 movies that came out after Angels in the Outfield as part of the franchise, and they all followed a similar premise as the original. And question number 6. Within 3, what year did the original Angels in the Outfield and stars Paul Douglas and Janet Leigh debut? All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, try to come up with those answers, and then I will return. All right, let's give you some answers here on Angels in the Outfield. So question number 1. Yes or no, is Angels in the Outfield available on Disney+? The answer there is yes. Now, I wrote these questions over the weekend. Come Monday morning, the answer had changed. The answer went from no over the weekend to all of a sudden Monday morning, I popped on Disney+, and there it was. It was back on there. Now, some of us had been pushing since November 19, 2019 to get this on the streaming service, and it's finally there, and it is, for me, well worth the watch. Question number 2. Within 2, what year did Angels in the Outfield debut in the US? Well, it debuted on July 15th, 1994. So in order to get the point there, what I had to say between 1992 and 1996. So again, for me, I can see why they waited. was the 30th anniversary. I have a feeling they probably could have released it earlier, decided to wait probably a couple months and then release it during the MLB All-Star break, which starts today. So there's no Major League Baseball games for the next few days. Plus, it's the 30th anniversary. Just a good little segue there. So I can see why they maybe held off on it for that point. Question number 3. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Taylor Negron, Adrian Brody, and Matthew McConaughey were among the list of up-and-coming actors in Angels in the Outfield. One of the established actors played Al, the boss angel. Al was played by what Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the Addams Family actor? Well, that would be Christopher Lloyd. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd was Al. He's the boss angel. He's the one who interacts with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and explains what's going on, why it's happening, all that sort of stuff. Definitely a cool role for him. Definitely did a good job at it as well. Question number 4. George Knox was the manager of the California Angels in Angels in the Outfield. Knox was played by what Lethal Weapon actor known for his line, "I'm too old for this stuff"? That would be Danny Glover. Now, he did not say stuff. This is a family show. We're going to go with stuff. But he would say, "I'm too old for this" in Lethal Weapon, and he did a great job of playing Knox in Angels in the Outfield. The character progression that his character goes through, he did a great job. Question number 5. Name either of the 2 movies that came out after Angels in the Outfield as part of the franchise, and they all follow a similar premise as the original. Well, to be able to get the point there, we would have to say either Angels in the End Zone or Angels in the Infield. Now, I remember Angels in the End Zone. It was 50 times as corny as Angels in the Outfield were. So I can only imagine that Angels in the Infield is even worse. I have not seen that one. I forgot. I had heard of it. I completely forgot that it existed. I just knew Angels in the End Zone still existed. And it was basically a similar premise where they help a football team to win a championship, all that sort of stuff. And the story behind it as well. It's a very similar story. Definitely, again, a heartwarming story as well. Last but not least, question number 6. Within 3, what year did the original Angels in the Outfield that stars Paul Douglas and Janet Leigh debut? Well, it debuted on September 7th, 1951. So in order to get the point there, would have to say between 1948 and 1954. This is an oldie. This is a one that goes way, way, way back. And it's a little bit different of a setup. It kind of has some of the same ideas, kind of the same storyline-ish kind of, but that one is definitely an older one, and I've not seen it, but definitely I'd be interested to see how the special effects looked in 1951 compared to the special effects in 1994. So again, a great movie. If you get the opportunity, watch it. It does have some foul language in it, so I just want to warn you on that ahead of time. But in my personal opinion, well worth the watch. Wrapping up today's game, round number 5 is going to be titled Name the Year. For this round, what's going to happen is I'm going to give you 3 movies that all came out in the same year. You just have to tell me what year did those 3 movies come out. So let's get started with question number 1. Elemental, Haunted Mansion, and Wish. Question number 2. Avengers Age of Ultron, Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur. Question number 3. Holes, the Lizzie McGuire movie, and Finding Nemo. Question number 4. Iron Will, D2 the Mighty Ducks, and The Santa Claus. Question number 5. The Great Mouse Detective, Flight of the Navigator, and The Color of Money. And question number 6. The Jungle Book, The Happiest Millionaire, and Charlie the Lonesome Cougar. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds worth of music, try to come up with those answers, and then I will return to wrap up today's game. All right, let's get some answers here on what year did these movies come out. So question number 1. Elemental, Haunted Mansion, and Wish, all those came out in 2023. Now, kind of gave that away earlier when we talked about Elemental being in the top 10 most streamed movies of 2023. This was one of the reasons why. It was released last year. Definitely a beautiful movie, the way that it's designed and the way that it's animated. Question number 2. Avengers Age of Ultron, Inside Out, and The Good Dinosaur. Well, that would be 2015. A good year. A good year with Age of Ultron. Good year with Inside Out. The Good Dinosaur might explain why it wasn't as good with 2 Pixar movies coming out in the same year. Probably had a lot of focus on Inside Out, not as much on The Good Dinosaur. The animation's really cool. Story is heartwarming. Just some of the things make you kind of shake your head. Question number 3. Holes, the Lizzie McGuire movie, and Finding Nemo. That would be 2003. Again, we covered 2 of the 3 of those movies here in the last couple of months. So hopefully that was able to ring a bell for you. But yeah, hard to believe. Finding Nemo, 21 years old. Question number 4. Iron Will, D2, The Mighty Ducks, and The Santa Claus. Well, that would be 1994. Again, throw in there Angels in the Outfield. Apparently a big sports year for Disney movies that year, with Iron Will being about sled dog racing, D2, The Mighty Ducks being about hockey, Angels in the Outfield being about baseball. But then, of course, the best out of the bunch, The Santa Claus. That is a phenomenal movie. Question number 5. The Great Mouse Detective, Flight of the Navigator, and The Color of Money. That would be 1986. So starting to get a little bit older here with some of these movies, but again, some classic movies and some fun ones as well. Last but not least, question number 6. The Jungle Book, The Happiest Millionaire, and Charlie the Lonesome Cougar. Well, that would be 1967. Now, way back in the, like, once we get out of the 80s, more the 70s and the 60s especially, Disney was only putting out 1 or 2 movies a year. And this year, 1967, you had 3 movies that got a lot of accolades with The Jungle Book, The Happiest Millionaire, and Charlie the Lonesome Cougar. All those were well-respected, well-renowned, and it's just cool they all came out in the same year. All were from Disney, and definitely continue to just cement Walt's legacy even further that year as well. I want to thank you for tuning in this week. I will return next Thursday with more questions and more fun. Make sure you're following us on social media at Mouse in the Mitten on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're watching us over on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, give us a thumbs up, and let us know in the comments down below what your score was. If you're listening to us on podcasts, make sure you're following us on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you download us wherever else you can. Make sure you leave a 5-star review on whatever platform you are using to listen to this podcast. And again, there are a lot of nuances going into Disney, and if you're doing a Disney travel, we talked about a couple of them in this show today. If you have any questions or you need some help with your Disney vacation, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me at mouseinthemitten@gmail.com. We can get you all squared away, get you all taken care of. Well, hey, my name's Court. The dog's name is Milo. I appreciate you tuning in this week, and I will see you next time.